Hi, I'm Brian.
And I'm Bruce.
And this is episode 7 of Just Beneath the Surface. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. We want to thank our viewers in where?
Our viewers in Singapore, who have made us the number one.
Go Singapore!
Who have made us the number one YouTube channel in Singapore. We couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you.
But we want to do that all around the world, and in order to do that, we need you, the viewer, to do 3 things. Bruce, what are those 3 things?
Hit your notification button.
Notification bell.
Hit the other one.
You want to subscribe.
And that you like us.
And then you want to like us.
You like us.
You wouldn't believe how many times we went through that in rehearsal and you still can't get it.
I got all 3 though, didn't I? Almost.
Anyway, Bruce, remind the viewers who are coming back, or I should say who are here for the first time, what is Just Beneath the Surface?
Just Beneath the Surface is homage, is that the correct word? I think I used that last time, to Rod Serling's The Twilight Zone, the original, which ran from 1959 to 1963. Four. And we believe that a lot of the things he in his episodes and that sort of thing still apply today, the morals, the things. And certainly had a lot of social commentary, I think, placed in his episodes. But on this episode of Just Beneath the Surface...
Well, I will say before we move on that in addition to all that social commentary, I think the episodes are still entertaining, more so than a lot of the shows that are produced today. I'd rather watch a classic Twilight Zone episode than any sitcom that's on today.
And before we started this episode and Brian was doing something in the bathroom, I was telling our producer that, believe it or not, watching any Twilight Zone episode, for me, is better than almost any other show on TV now. It's like... a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at work. Exactly. That's what I learned. Okay, so let's go on.
So this is episode 7. What are we going to talk about today, Bruce?
Today we're going to talk about a much maligned season in the episodes of
Don't say it.
Oh, did I say maligned?
Don't say it.
Did I say maligned?
You're not going to say what I think you're going to say.
I almost said the W word. I can't say that. It's going to flash on your screen whenever I say it.
Yeah.
Not it. Not when I say it. But when I say...
Which season are we talking about, Bruce?
Season 4, where...
you had to say it.
Did I say it?
You said
Season
it.
4.
Yes, Season 4.
We have to delve into it because some people, supposedly, as Brian knows better than I, didn't like that year. That's when they went to 1-hour episodes and a lot of other stuff that...
Bottom of the barrel Twilight Zone episodes for years.
Not really.
What happened? Okay, let's take you back. Twilight Zone premiered in 1959, and the first 3 seasons, it was a huge hit. Everybody loved it.
Loved it.
So the folks, whenever you've got a hit, what do the folks in programming and at the network think?
The CEOs at the top will get greedy.
How can we get more money out of this thing?
And by the way, if you have $5, send it.
Please send it. So they thought,
to our producer.
If a half hour is going to bring us this much, imagine what an hour of the Twilight Zone every week would be.
I'm getting sort of excited right now.
Yes,
are you?
I am excited.
Okay, shut down. We're going to be back now.
How could this possibly be bad? So what did they do? They extended the episodes. Rather than the first 3 seasons, you had a half-hour story where you have the setup, you have the pitch, and then you have the payoff at the end.
The twist.
The twist.
And some of those twists all of them are good, but many of them I never saw coming.
And exactly.
They're great. They're great.
And when you get to season 4, though, and this is my opinion of it only, I think that it just takes too long to get to the payoff. And they pad these episodes down with so much with backstory and with subplots and things that just detract from getting to the meat of it. That's my opinion.
And that is definitely Brian's opinion, because his opinion is now once again wrong. Because having something short or long or whatever, I think is sort of, I know everybody wants everything condensed in 20 minutes and I want it now, and shut down baseball into 2.5 hours. Listen, if you're doing something you like, you want to keep going doing, not just for 20 minutes. Ask people about how often do you see somebody grabbing their iPhone or iPad or Face Twit or whatever it's called, and they're on it for like 5 hours looking down like this. They're going like this for like 20. How come they don't cut that to 20 minutes? No, they got to be.
I'm going to use one of your favorite episodes to disprove exactly.
Oh no! Don't do it! Don't do it!
One of your favorites is the Howling Man, which is
I have the script, the original script,
season 2, and we have not yet dived into that episode here on Just Beneath the Surface, but it works as it is. Can you imagine if they threw in a subplot wherein the man who's hunting the devil, his ex-wife showed up and she wants to get divorced, and it takes us forever now to get past this to get to the actual devil plot? What would happen?
It's going to show, and this is going to show that I have the ability to acquiesce and say when I'm sort of not right, but I agree with Brian on that one. I wouldn't like it, but I think more so for the reason is and we're getting off, but I mean, we're not getting off, we're getting off the subject.
Getting off subject here.
But sometimes you like the first thing you see. Like I saw the Howling one half hour. You know, it's like hearing, Freebird by Leonard Skinner, the live version.
Yeah.
I love it. That's the first one I heard. But then when you hear the stereo version, you go, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of like, I don't know. But anyway, I agree with you. The Howling, keep it a half hour. So
then let's dive into season 4 then. Let's talk about some of the episodes that work.
Can I say my one thing about season 4?
Sure.
The one reason I don't like some of the episodes, I'm not as crazy about them as I have the half hour or some of the 1 hour shows I really love too, season 4, is I don't know if you'll agree with me or not, but
probably not.
If you go through each one that we kind of not crazy about, there's really not a twist. Mm-hmm. If you by the time like on any of them, like 5-10 minutes of the thing, I already know what's going to happen. There isn't like at the end where my buddy in the masks, the half hour show.
Another one we need to get to.
It's a great one where they put on the mask at
Mardi Gras.
At Mardi Gras and it's New Year's and all that. And at the very end, they take them off and they become the mask. They look horrible and all this sort of stuff. But that's you get a twist. And the ones that, at least that I didn't like on these hour shows, there wasn't a twist. I kind of already knew where it was going, and I missed that.
The twist is that it was boring.
That's right. That's good.
How's that for the Twilight Zone?
Honestly, he gets one every podcast, and that was it.
So imagine you've got 3 seasons of the Twilight Zone. They're half hour, and they're great. And then the 4th season is the hour. But they learned their mistake, because for season 5, they went back to the half hour format.
Yes.
And for years, you couldn't find these episodes. They were not in syndication. Netflix didn't even carry it. It would go 1, 2, 3, and then 5. And I was like, oh yeah, there was that season 4. What happened to it? Well, now it's airing on Paramount Plus. And they've got all 5 seasons.
Okay, yeah. But I mean, this is from my knowledge. Was season 4 were the ratings really down and all this stuff? I don't know. I don't know.
That bears further research.
Research.
I don't know what the motivator was to go back to the half-hour format in season 5, but I would assume that had something.
Is that the same thing where they were trying to save money on videotaping versus the cameras and all that stuff?
I don't think there were any videotaped episodes during the 4th season. They all seem to be in the regular style. In seasons 1, 2, 3, you've got the occasional episode, like your favorite, Night of the Meek, that was shot on videotape, and it's very clearly shot on videotape. Night of the Meek. It looks different.
Hey, Norton. It looks different. You got a blabbermouth. What's that when Ralph Cramden says it? You got a blabbermouth.
Yes. Bruce, anyway, let's talk about some of the highs and lows of season 4. What are the ones that from this season that you will revisit if you were, on a lazy Saturday afternoon?
Death Ship. And I think we agree with that. We're 3 astronauts are going to a planet away, and they're looking for, because the world is overpopulated. You don't get that till like about 45 minutes in. That's the reason they went.
Yeah.
But
this is Jack Klugman in yet another Twilight Zone performance.
In 3, right?
Yes, I think he did 3 or 4. That's another story for another time.
And they go into this planet or whatever. They land on this planet, and they look out the window of the spaceship, which has regular windows, I guess.
Yep.
But I mean, and they see their spaceship.
Yep.
The same spaceship they're in, but crashed. So they walk over and do all this stuff, and they walk in, and they see the dead crewman there.
Jack Klugman looks down and he sees himself dead.
No, hold it. First, it's the guy from the Wild Wild West. What was his name? Not Jim West. Who played the other guy?
Who are the other 2 guys? I don't know. Good question. I'll put it down here.
Ross Martin plays it, and he goes over and he turns the guy over. And it's Ross Martin, the same guy. And you can see because they don't have thing, you can see where it's a split screen, because the background on this is light and the background on this is dark or whatever. Something our producer would never let happen, because he's number 1. He's got his own podcast, by the way. Go watch it.
Check it out.
VOF something or whatever. VOF Zone. Watch it.
Hey, wait a minute. Where do you think he got the title for that from? The VOF Zone?
VOF Zone.
Come on.
Oh, we're going to court. We're going to court. He's stealing our ideas.
That's pretty obvious. But anyway, influence that.
They go on and they find the 3 dead guys in the spaceship are the same 3 that are living in the other spaceship. Jack Klugman and Ross Martin and another guy.
They're dead, but can they still vote?
Only if they cross the border in Texas.
Okay.
Oops! Did I get political? But Anyway, the show goes on, and I like this because it did, to me, maybe it wasn't a big twist at the end, but it kept me thinking, going, what's happening? I don't know what's going on. And like Klugman's arguing that they're still alive, and that there's aliens taking over their brain and make them see this imagery. And then Ross Martin goes back to where his dead wife and kid are, and they're saying, hey, we're dead. And Jack Klugman, no, you're not dead. Well, I'm not. He wouldn't give up that they're dead. He wanted to be alive. And I'm almost rooting for Jack Klugman to be right. But the whole time you don't know which one it is or whatever. And that's what I like about it. And I think some of the other ones, missed that or whatever. So there wasn't a twist at the end. It's just kind of like at the very end, it shows them redoing the same thing.
It was a very good premise, but when I recently rewatched this in anticipation of this show, I did have my phone in my hand through most of it, and I was kind of like, I was going to looking up, down. It could not hold my attention for the entire hour. I like the theme of it. I like the idea of it. I just think that it just took too much time.
All right.
So let's
one
move
you
on.
like.
One that I like is called Jess-Belle, and this was the second of 3 episodes that were written by Earl Hamner Jr., who of course...
He was in the first one.
No. This is the first of 3 that he wrote, Earl Hamner. Earl Hamner would later produce a series called The Waltons, which was, of course, was big in the 1970s.
I used to watch that all the time.
The Waltons?
Yeah.
But Earl Hamner...
Good night, Mark, Bob.
Earl Hamner had done an episode in the season 3. It's one that you and I keep teasing the audience with. It's called The Hunt.
Hunt.
Never done an episode on The Hunt.
I want to get a dog named Rip.
Rip. So anyway, he comes back to the Twilight Zone and he does this Jess-Belle. And the title, Jess-Belle, is really a play on the term Jezebel, because that's kind of the theme of this. James Best, who of course had also previously been in the Twilight Zone in an episode called The Last Rites of Jeff Myrtlebank.
And in the movie The Killer Shrews, you've got to see it.
And later made famous on The Dukes of Hazzard. That's his probably claim to fame.
Roscoe?
Roscoe P. Coltrane.
Oh my God, I got one, but I cheated. I looked.
So he's a Southern boy, and he's got a girlfriend, and they're...
Anne Francis.
What was the girlfriend's name? It was something like Harmony or Liberty Bell or something.
Right, but the Jezebel was played by Anne Francis, wasn't it?
That's her, but you're getting ahead of me here.
Sorry.
So he's got this woman that he's deeply in love with, and they go to the dance on Saturday night, and they announce their engagement. And
everybody's happy.
And his fiance's father is just so happy for this union. But
drinks for everybody.
But there's this woman.
Not here, but
there's this woman in the town who's always had her eye on James Best's character. Her name is Jess Bell. And
sort of like Brian's problem.
Well, there you go.
Women all the time. But go ahead.
The root of all evil. But she doesn't want this marriage to go through, and she wants James Best's character for herself. So, as you do in these stories, this is down in the South, kind of like in the Bayou, and she goes not to a witch, but she goes to like one of these Cajun type women.
Right. I thought she was a witch.
Okay, well that's a good term for it. She was basically a witch.
Because when her mother,
it was more like voodoo, though.
It's more like voodoo. You're correct, but I think when the wife, her mother finds out, she goes, "You went and visited that witch, whatever her name."
Well, you could say that about any woman in the story. Anyway, so
you get the underlying current. That's why it's called Just Beneath the Surface. Something's underlying right here in this gray matter right here. There's not much of it, but what's there is excellent.
Just beneath the surface. Anyway, so Jess Bell employs this woman, and the woman puts the curse on James Best's character so that he now completely forgets about his fiancée.
Which the women have that power anyway.
Well, true, even without a voodoo. And he turns his attentions to Jess Bell. And what's going on? There's like a tiger that they keep seeing throughout the episode.
It's a spotted leopard.
It's a spotted leopard. And what does that represent?
It represents the witch. And the story about the witch, and this is Cajun, I think. Mm-hmm. You Cajun people, or if you're in Singapore, you know too, that a witch, when it's cornered and gets killed and supposedly killed or whatever, it changes into something else. It can change into and in this episode, it changes into a spotted leopard. I think it's a leopard. Changes into a spider.
Doesn't change its spots.
Right, doesn't change its spots. Whatever, because they never die unless you do one thing, which Brian will say right now.
I've already forgotten the end of the episode, so I don't know what happens next. I just remember that the leopard keeps showing up from time to time throughout the episode, and I eventually. The spell is broken, right? And
the spell is broken because what he does is James Best goes to the witch and says, "How can I break this curse that she keeps following me around? I want to marry the other girl."
Right.
Or whatever. He goes, "You have to get a piece of her clothing and do a spell on it or something." And he does that. And somehow he does that, and the witch is gone. Jess-Belle is gone forever.
Right. It's got the Southern themes that Earl Hamner always put into his stories, both in the Twilight Zone and the Waltons.
I mean, yeah. Now that I talk about it, I like it.
Yep.
I mean, I wouldn't turn it off. Let's put it that way.
I wouldn't either. No, it's one of the very few from the season 4 that I will watch over and over again.
Very few that he'd watch.
Yep. Now, what's another one from season 4?
Oh, what's another one? I like the.
It's gonna take us a full hour for him to decide.
Valley of the Shadow.
Okay, that's the one with Jimmy Doohan from Star Trek. He plays the mechanic in that episode. It's I think it's a very quick scene. Scotty.
Oh yeah. It does. That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that. It is Scotty Pin. But in any event, this guy goes into a town, sort of like the Walking Distance. Remember the Walking Distance, which is a great episode, half-hour episode, or whatever. That the main character goes into this town, and they supposedly have this superior technology. And his dog jumps out of his car or whatever, and he's chasing one of the neighbor's cats or whatever.
Yeah.
And so the little girl zaps him, and the dog disappears. And the guy goes, "How the hell did that happen? I thought it was in reality." Are we in reality?
Oh, we must be.
Right, I hate it, but I don't want to be in reality anymore. I want to be a vampire. But anyway, so he goes, what happened? And so they go on, and this place has a new technology and all this, and they have something that can cure all the things in the world, hate and dislike and cancer and all that sort of stuff. But they're afraid to give it to the people of the world. Why? Because man is intrinsically evil.
Yep. That's a common theme that pops up here on Just Beneath the Surface.
And what happens when the star of this, who was, I believe he was also in The Walking Distance.
Oh, okay.
What's his name? That when he finally,
Nelson?
I think so. When he finally gets his chance to get away, and he goes to the machine which can produce anything, and produce meals and this, a car, a bun.
Yeah.
It produces a gun. And he produces a gun and he shoots the guys to get away. And then so when they don't die or whatever, they go, look at the first thing you did when you get some freedom. You produced a weapon of hate, a weapon that kills. And I'm all for gun rights. Have as many as you want, my friends. Oh God, did I say that? Yeah. But anyway, so he eventually leaves it. But the thing I liked about the episode was there was a girl there that was trying to make him stay, who was actually very good looking, or whatever. And not that she was good, but she seemed like, listen, you guys out there know when a woman that you like gives you a certain look, you just die for it,
right?
Or whatever. And the fact that now they go, there's one way you can get you out, and they erase his whole memory for the last 2 days, whatever. And remember, the girl comes out at the end, and he's looking at her and goes, boy, whoever goes along with her is going to be lucky. Yeah. And he could have been lucky, but he didn't want to stay in this enclosed community, or whatever. So he drives away. I just like the pathos of it. I like almost the sadness of that woman being, oh, there goes my love, and now I'm trapped in this society where there's only certain people. Not that I want to be in a cult or anything, believe me.
And before we wrap this up, I do want to touch on one more from the season.
Go ahead.
I think is the most famous. This one is so good, as a matter of fact, that whenever Sci-Fi Channel would do marathons like you like to watch on New Year's Eve,
yes,
this is the 1 hour-long episode that they will include in the
Really say the one I like. Go ahead.
It's called Miniature. And it stars an unknown actor by the name of Robert Duvall.
Yes.
In one of his very first acting roles.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And he's a man, plays, I can't think of the character's name off the top of my head, but he goes into this department store every day. And there's this little dollhouse. And he's a man in his 30s or whatever. You wouldn't think he'd have any interest in a dollhouse. But he looks into the window and he sees, a little doll in there. But she seems to be alive.
Yes.
And we, the viewer, see this relationship between Duvall and the doll, and they talk to each other. And no, she doesn't talk. She's just there.
But he's talking to her in a way. And the thing about Duvall, his character, is that he doesn't get any dates. He's kind of insecure. He's sort of like I am. I was, whatever. And so he's very vulnerable, and his mother keeps saying, "Oh, you got to get a date. You got to get married. He's like, I don't want to."
So he finds his escape by going to the department store every day.
Bang, Zippo,
and having this imaginary life with the little doll in the dollhouse. And the store people think he's kind of nuts for coming by.
Definitely very nuts.
Very nuts. And anyway, we won't spoil the ending because we don't do that here on Just Beneath the Surface. But it's one of the rare instances where in a Twilight Zone where I think they had a happy ending. And that's possibly why they will show this one in marathons.
Right, and I do like it too. And it's one of the episodes where they show, and this runs through a lot of episodes, half hour or not, where it shows a man escaping reality because reality sucks. I know you don't think so, but it sucks. You know, there was in Willoughby, and it was like a bunch of other ones where they escape or whatever. I'll just say one more for 1 hour. Passage of the Lady Anne, I think it's called Passage. That's a good one too. Because I know we're running against it, but the one you miniature, it's kind of like almost sad in a way that I feel that people keep. Okay, you're 25, you got to get married, you got to have kids, you got to do this, get a job, be another brick in the wall, all this sort. And Robert Duvall's like, yeah, I really don't want to, but he goes and finds his love. In the miniature. It's a great one.
That's a good place to bring it to a wrap. So,
yes, we'll wrap that on season 4 for now.
What we want to do now is we want to remind you folks, like we did at the top of the hour, please, we want you first to subscribe. We want you to hit the notification bell. And we want you to...
Please subscribe.
What's the third thing, Bruce? I said subscribe, notification bell, and I'm giving you...
Please like us.
There you go.
The Twilight Zone, just beneath the surface. See you, Singapore. We love you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you to all of our viewers, and we'll be back for season 8. Anything else?
No, season 8, episode 8. Episode 8.
Keep watching.
Whatever.
I am just beneath the surface.
Good night.